One guy was talking about how they can overcome their self-respect. Yeah, because they seem to be getting involved in all the wrong people. So today, what I'm going to talk about is from my book, The Source 2, and it's about loving yourself and building self-respect. Let's get into this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew L.V.
To cover 4 aspects that would help you deal with your self-criticism and also get used to believing in yourself again. Now these aspects, these things I'm going to speak about, these 4 points are going to help you elevate from here to up here. And these process I did myself in order for me to move forward. So the first one is breaking free from self-criticism. And the second one is building habits of self-care. Number three is affirming your values. And finally, number 4 is exercising self-love. So this aspect I'm going to help you. Before I move on, actually, I'd just like to ask you if you can like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me and it helps the channel and it helps you guys to know exactly when I upload anything. I'm trying to do 1 video a week or even 2, but obviously there has to be interaction. But don't forget the notification bell. This helps me to help you knowing when I'm next uploaded, so you don't miss out on my next up and coming video. Okay, let's get started. So the first one is breaking free from self-criticism. Now, we all are our own self-critics, and a lot of the time when I do my work, I come across a lot of people who are basically they're self-sabotage a lot of things. They are self-critics and they're constantly putting themselves down. And they believe, in fact, they don't need enemies. And a lot of the time when I say to them, you're going through a lot of things that if you had enemies, they'd probably be better treating you better than you would treat yourself. So why do we do this? Now, this isn't necessarily our fault. It's something that we were brought up with, whether it's from family, our siblings, society, school, teachers, whatever the situation. We internalize these negative vibrations in order to justify any negativity that we do. For example, in the book, I talk about racism, right? Racism isn't, you are not born with racism. Racism is inherited. So, for example, I heard this 7-year-old talking about his friend, his best friend. I think a guy called Roger. He said, oh, he's his best mate. Turns out the boy who said he's his best friend, who is 7, he was actually white and his best friend was black. But when they turned around and said to him, like, well, you know that Roger's black? He said, yeah, but Roger's different. And I goes, what about the rest of them? He goes, oh, the rest of them are all dodgy. But this is about, and he also said, we can't trust those people. Now, this is inherited. This isn't something a 7-year-old would naturally come out with. This is something which comes from a place of negativity and ignorance and lack of understanding. So, in essence, there are people that internalize these things, and we go around believing these things that people say, or that we have our own inner chatter saying how useless we are. In fact, we're not. You know, and it's hard to see when you see people trying to overcome certain hurdles, but they can't because they're concerned about what people think of them. So when, for example, you have a breakup and a person dumps you or leaves you or rejects you, you turn around and believe it's you. For the fact it probably isn't you. It's probably that person that is not ready to date you. And if they don't want you, you'll find somebody better. So now my next point I want to talk about is point 2, which is building habits of self-love. Now, after breaking free from self-criticism, you need to start building on your self-love. Now, a lot of people, again, look internally and get concerned about who and what they're about. They try to seek permission from other people outside their true self. And there's also an aspect of that is where people believe if they work on themselves and they start loving themselves, there is this idea that they are ignorant or they are big-headed, you know, but that isn't the case. The case is if you're doing it from a place of love and you're trying to build on it, it is about you overcoming those things you faced when you were younger and almost kind of have to rebrand yourself and relearn and unlearn the things that you learned when you were younger. So as you're moving forward and you start to grow, you need to start letting go of all those negativities, those misconceptions that our parents learn from their parents and so on and so forth, or learn in society. Remember, society changes, and this society today is a lot different than when our parents were growing up, and what they internalized from their parents or their society around them. So one of the ways you can do this, you need to start building a routine, right? You need to build a routine, and you need to build some habits. There's a saying, between 17 days and 21 days is when you form a habit. I believe it's about 21 days. Now, if we form a habit over the period of time, a positive habit, then we can overcome the negativity that we had from before. This could be going to the gym. This could be being nice to people even, or just spending time yourself. So say if you're in a job where you're always around people, but you want to be on your own and do the self-work, spend the Saturday or Sunday on your own. Build on that. Or in the evening, just turn your phone off for a couple of hours and focus upon building those habits that's going to elevate you to the next level. Because if you're always going to follow what people tell you to do, you're always going to be running around in that rat race and not moving forward. We need to focus on our mental health and our well-being. These are key fundamental changes we need to look at if we're to move forward to help build those habits of self-love. Point 3 I want to talk about is affirmations of your values. Now, I'm going to put up in the description some affirmations that you can look at. Now, or you can go to books, or go into my book, The Source 2. There's loads of affirmations on page 54 that talks about affirmations of you growing and you empowering yourself. You can't do the work unless you have a structure. You can't do the work unless you have the inner chatter of positivity. Yeah, and remember, if you fail the first time, don't quit. A habit is easily broken, but a habit is easily reformed. And remember, positive energy is 1,000 more times powerful than the negative energy. So the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So don't feel if you've done really well for the first week and then you fall off the wagon, right? Get back on it. Go back to the affirmations. This will help you to move forward. This is why we wrote the affirmations. It's to help empower you, to empower the mind and your spirit and your heart in order to be able to overcome this negative chatter that we always been internalizing as we've been growing up. And if we start believing in those and start talking positively about life, things will shift and things will come to us. Life will not, or the universe or the law of attraction will not bring in positive things if you're saying negative things. You need to live in a state of bliss. You need to start talking bliss, even though they're saying this word, act as if. And when I say act as if, it means that have a positive attitude. Someone does you wrong, bless you. Someone cuts you up along the motorway, step back, you must be in a rush. If someone lies, says about you, obviously you've got insecurities, you've got issues, and I bless you, I hope you sort that out. These things is taking away your negativity to hold grudges, because believe it or not, you start getting frown lines if you start stressing about what other people do to you, because reality is people do things to you because they see your light. When they see your light, they want to dim it and not make it so bright. So keep shining. Final one I'm going to talk about is point 4, which is exercise self-love. Now, this is so key. When, for example, some of the things you can do is look in the mirror every morning, look in the mirror and just say a couple words of affirmation, or give yourself some credit. Go saying, you're looking amazing today, you're looking beautiful today. Because if you look in the mirror, what you don't see of your mum and your dad is all your ancestors that is coming to a funnel into you. Think about it. Your mum and your dad had you together, right? And you made to maybe aspects of your face that you may look like your mum, or you may look more like your dad. But there's aspects of your face that's formed coming from your great grandparents that is coming to a funnel through your parents through to you. Now, if you think about it, that's a warm feeling. That's a good feeling. That's empowering. And if you want, one thing I say is I say, hi ancestors, thank you for showing up and being here with me today. Let's make some positive changes. Let the positive change start from within and let me start so that I can change the things from without. The other thing is as well, is when you meet somebody down the street, just say hi to them. You know, just go, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It may drain your internal chatter, but breaking habits is about breaking habits. You can't break habits walking around moody. You need to break those habits by doing these positive affirmations and having these positive chatter with other people, but internally saying, I'm in a good place. And if you're going along and something goes wrong, ignore it. Yeah, learn from it. Okay. I believe that if you go and you face something that's negative, God is giving you some evidence or some extra, what can I call it? Some extra meat on the bone for you to elevate. He isn't forgotten about you. He's giving you these, I won't call it tests, I call it giving you extra reasons to become stronger. You know, because if you don't, you're always going to be not learning. You will never know what it's like to be in love unless you're in love. You never know what the pyramids look like unless you've been to the pyramid. You never know what a plane is like unless you've been on a plane. So the exercises of self-love are important. You need to start doing this in a chatter. You need to overcome it or learn to cope with it. I just wanted to tell a quick story about a friend of mine. Let's call him Jack. Now, Jack was with a long-term partner for about 7 to 8 years. Now, this partner, over a period of time, towards the end of the relationship, ended up going out with her girlfriends, ended up cheating and sleeping with somebody else. And then continued to see this person and end up building a relationship, so was actually basically cheating on Jack. Now, Jack found out, and he obviously was clearly upset, and he internalized a lot of that person, his partner's own issues. Now, Jack kept on complaining that it was him. He wasn't fulfilling certain things. He wasn't overcoming certain things in his relationship. And I goes, where did you get that from? He said, this is what she said. And I goes, do you feel internally that you were fulfilling your quota as a partner? And he said, well, yeah, I looked after her, treated her well. We went out, I bought her clothes, you know, I gave her loving. I was there for her when her nan passed away. All this stuff that Jack supported her with. So I said to Jack, you know, the problem is not you. The problem is probably her. But what we do, or people do, when they're in a mission of guilt and they've been called guilty, projects their own insecurities on the other person. So anyway, Jack was still in a bad place. So what I said to him, look, I'm going to bring you something tomorrow and I want you to just work with it. Just bear with me. I just want to get hold of this for you. A day later, I came to see him and I gave him a mirror about this big. And I said to him, what I want you to do is say 3 positive things in the morning and 3 positive things that happen during the day at night. And the other thing I mentioned to him is said, say 3 positive things in the morning about yourself, and then say 3 positive things about what you want to achieve during the day. Yeah. And then obviously in the evening, say 3 positive things about what you achieved. So Jack did this. I never heard from him for about 2 weeks or so. He just like went off radar. I'm so he's concerned. He's tapping in, we texting him. He was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good. Anyway, he reappeared. He just appeared. And I did not recognize this guy. It was about probably a month later, but we knew he was fine because he was still going to work, he was still texting us. And we had a friend who worked with him, so he was okay. But Jack was a total different person. Within the space of a month, I'm not saying he was fully over it, but he was ready to engage. He was ready to go out there and make some changes. In fact, he started contemplating about going out on dates, started going out seeing other people. And I said to him, Jack, what happened? He goes, your mirror was amazing. Is it a magic mirror? I said, no, it's just a normal mirror. And he goes, the only magic about it is what you say within those affirmations about your own self-belief. Now, you can't turn around and take off on a runway that is all bumpy. You need to smooth the runway. When you smooth the runway is when you can have a nice, smooth takeoff. Jack did just that. And it was probably about 3 months later, Jack met someone and now they're still together and they're going traveling together. So it does work. You just need to be persistent, focused, and have the true intention within in order to overcome it. So there you go. 4 positive shifts for you to overcome your own self beliefs, right? The first one is, again, breaking free from self-criticism. 2, building habits of self-care. 3 affirmations of your values. And 4, exercising self-love. Now, again, I just want to just bring this to an end. I want to say thank you for being here, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please put comments in the comments below if there's anything you want me to address. I'm going to start doing more videos based around my book in order to help promote it, not just to promote it, but to help you guys bring it to the forefront. So there's going to be more, once I start building more videos based upon my book, I'm going to start putting me into a little playlist so you guys can roll on from there. And again, you know what, I'm just going to cut it there because I'm waffling. So I hope you're well and hope you're keeping safe, and I'll see you soon. May the source always be with you. Stay blessed.